Rocket 88, yes, it's straight, just one way. Everybody likes my Rocket 88, baby, we'll ride in style, moving all along.
Black Southern radio stations in the smaller markets were thriving on rhythm and blues. The primary rhythm and blues outlet was radio WDIA in Memphis.
Starring Rufus and Jay on WDIA Memphis.
Your hand in your pocket right now and had $5,000, what would you have?
If I run my hands in my pocket right now and I had $5,000, what would I have? Somebody else's britches on. Here is the weather.
WDIA, the country's first all-black programming station, went on the air in 1948. The station had an influential DJ lineup that included Nat D. Williams, a Memphis high school teacher, who was generally considered one of the first black DJs in the South. Another was one Take No Prisoners wild woman who was way ahead of her time, Martha Jean, the Queen Steinberg. And at least two who would become even more renowned as performers, B.B. King and Rufus Thomas.
I'm young, I'm loose, I'm full of juice, I got the goose, so what's the use? We're feeling gay, though we ain't got a dollar. Rufus is here, so hoot and holla. Ha-ha, right here.
Like most black DJs of the time, Rufus Thomas worked 3 or more jobs to supplement his income while playing rhythm and blues records at WDIA and performing wherever they let him up in front of an audience.
Don't know how to do it, I'll show you how to walk it. Come on now, come on, come on. Love is like an Eden cancer on a poor man's pocketbook. Love is an itching at the heart that you just can't scratch. Love is a misunderstanding between two fools.
Memphis was a transport hub for rural Southern blacks and whites moving north to the industrial centers of Chicago and Detroit.
I don't get up in the morning, I believe I dust my broom.
It was also a crossroads where black Southern blues and hallelujah gospel music met white Southern hillbilly sounds head on.
Oh, well, I'm sitting here waiting for my...
Although few of them were allowed on the air, black DJs were more colorful and personality-oriented than their white counterparts. The black DJs were performers whose antics were as entertaining as the music they played. Jack Gibson became the first black voice heard on the nation's first black-owned radio station, WERD in Atlanta. Tommy Smalls on WLIB radio in Harlem staged rhythm and blues concerts at the Apollo Theater that were the forerunner for all to come. The most renowned black DJ of the early rock and roll era was Douglas Jocko Henderson.
Way up here in the stratosphere, you gotta holler mighty loud and clear. E to the yuck, ho, says the jock, back on scene with the record machine saying, "Goo papa doo, how do you do?" And luckily, it kind of caught on, you know.
So until tomorrow Tuesday, now your ace from outer space says, "Look up, poo all through, later, gator, gotta cut."
If Humphrey Bogart were to play a DJ, he'd probably play Jocko.
Jocko Henderson had style. He had his own patois and things that I can still repeat verbatim. It's Jocko, and I'm back on the scene with the record machine. Correct time now, 10:19.
He was really cool, man. And I used to listen to him, and my mom said, "What are you listening to up there? Shut that off." She was a Patty Page fan and all that.
In addition to all of his broadcast work, Jocko brought rock and roll to the Apollo Theater in New York. Jocko was just as big an attraction as the acts at these live shows.
first show we put in there, never saw a crowd like that in my life. We turned away over 100,000 people. And headlining that show was Mickey and Sylvia, Clyde McFadden.
The first engagement that we actually got paid for outside of the city of Chicago was at the Apollo Theater for Jocko Henderson. It was just the most fun engagement that I've ever done.
The Apollo Theater made a rocket for me. I had to climb up a ladder to get in the rocket. It was about 10 feet off the ground. And, of course, it was held up by piano wires.
Big Bad rocket is cruising in space at 39,417 miles an hour. Confirm altitude 1,300,000 miles up.
And I climb up on top, sit down, and the rocket would come down in the middle of the stage.
Brace yourself and look out!
Fire bombs, everything would happen, and, all the noise in the world. One night, I got in the rocket, and it came down, and halfway down, it threw me on the stage. And everybody thought that was part of the act. Thank God I wasn't hurt, but, I wasn't part, so I laughed with them. Told them the Russians must have had something to do with that. It was in the New York Times.
It's rocket ship time, and those on our board must be out of their mind. The Rocketeers are lined up side by side, ready to take the most exciting ride from the Earth to the moon.
Jocko and his rhyming introductions to records is one of the most easily identified influences on rap. And DJs anywhere in the country will tell you that the father of that tradition is Jocko Henderson.
Oh, it's Jock. And we're back on the seat with the record machine.
Talking, ooh, Papa, do, and how do you do?
And way up here in the stratosphere, got to holler mighty loud and clear. E-diddly-yock. Ho, this is Jock, and I'm back on the scene with the record machine saying, ooh, Papa, day, we're on our way.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to your favorite...
Philadelphia was a big radio town in the 50s and 60s. Jocko Henderson and Dick Clark are two of the most famous DJs to come out of the city of brotherly love. But there were others who had vast followings among both black and white teenagers. Georgie Woods was one of the biggest in town, and the man Dick Clark relied upon to tell him which records were hot in the black community.
In 1953, when I came to work at this radio station, everything here was white. I'll put it to you like that. The janitor was even white. We came here. I think we had another couple of two black disc jockeys. That's all was here. And that's what we had. We had to overcome that.
Georgie was less the showman than Jocko. Jocko was the showman. He was the flash. He was the style. Georgie was the boy who lived next door.
Ah, Georgie Woods, the man with the goods. Ring the bell for Eileen, the rock and roll queen.
No, we need it so proud. We got to have it so.
Woods promoted shows at Philadelphia's Uptown Theater, a big stop on the Chitlin Circuit.
So proud. Hey! We need it so proud. We want it so proud. We got to have it so proud. I want to get.
Now you can turn the radio on 24 hours a day and hear a black person doing some broadcasting, but back then, it wasn't like that. We had to pick at the radio stations. We had to come out here. We weren't even allowed out here where we are right here on the street here to even be on the street after the sun went down. We had a park over here called Woodside Park where blacks couldn't swim in the pool, right around the corner here. Well, to be out here at night, coming to work at 6 o'clock and going home at 10, you got a problem out here because the police didn't know what you was doing out here. So they'd line us up against the wall and stop us and ask us, what are we, and we'd tell them, I'm coming from work. They said, well, no restaurants open this time, stuff like that. That's what got me involved with the NAACP and involved in demonstrations and picketing, things of that nature because of the conduct of the police who was very, I would not say brutal, but they didn't allow you to be in certain areas at certain times of the day. And they wanted identification. They'd line you up against the wall. So I see people today walking down the street who don't know what it was like then compared to what it is now. Because you couldn't do you just couldn't do those kind of things then.
People get ready, there's a train a-coming. You don't need no baggage, you just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the dealers humming. Don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord.
I tried to not be a role model because I don't even know what that is. I just try to do what I think is right and hopefully somebody else will follow. But I tried to give an example of what a disc jockey should do when he's in front of that microphone. You don't go in there just cut and jive all the time and pop your fingers and do that. You got to go in there sometimes and be serious too. Although you're playing music, you're trying to entertain people, but you have to have something a little bit stronger than just the music.
I don't think we have too many radio announcers like George, who came from behind the mic, went out into the community on his own, not showing up just to show up because someone contracted him to do it. I'm talking about on his own, and actually helped build the community, helped to stop the gang war. And a part of the things of that era that was going on, helped to build OIC and to help with the freedom, the monies and funds for Martin Luther King's freedom marches and so forth. No, I don't really see a lot of that. And I really would like to know if it's there. I'd like to know about it because I can't find it today.
So people get ready, there's a train a-coming.
The way I saw radio and the way I see it today, I mean, you give me a microphone or a platform or an arena to express a view, I think I should have the freedom of speech to do that. And that's what I've done over the years. I've tried to express how I felt as an African American, as a black person who has struggled, who tries to survive every day of my life. And when I get an opportunity to speak on that and try to implant that in other people's minds as well, I think it's beneficial to the audiences. So if you need me, you know how to reach me. I'll be here if there's a problem.
Opportunity go by for taking time to say hello to the man with the goods. You the best, George.
Hey, you know. But if you need me for real, Brick, you let me know. If you need me,
that, man,
I'll be
and
here.
I love you, man.
Okay.
Kill your family.
All right, thanks.
And take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
We call it tasting time, where we salute all of our blue-collar workers, all of you who earn your bread by the sweat of your brow. I want to let you know today that you are somebody. You are responsible for the wheels of this world going around, and don't you ever forget it.
There were more than a few Dizzy Lizzies out there. Women DJs were not as prominent as men in most markets, but they were out there. Martha Jean the Queen Steinberg was among the first of the rhythm and blues women DJs. She married a Jewish horn player, had 5 children, and one day strutted her way into the radio studio.
I used to say, if you a woman in this business, you got to think like a man, act like a lady, and work like a dog. And that's just the way it is.
There was nobody before, and there's nobody after Martha Jean. She's in a class all by herself.
She started in the early 50s at WDIA in Memphis, and she did it by boldly transforming what was supposed to be a homemaker's show into a hot cooking music feast.
They used to call me Princess Premium Stuff. Because if you were black and you were on radio, you had to have a handle. You'd either be Mommy or Daddy or Aunt Jane or something. I told them, I said, look, I'm not going to be any Aunt Janes, you know. So they said, okay, we'll call you Princess Premium Stuff. Well, one day, you know, I said, I'm just tired of this Princess Premium stuff. So I said to Honeymoon was working on the board. And I said, when you introduce me, you do something that rhyme with Jean other than premium stuff. Well, what is the program director going to say? I said, I don't care what the program, I said, try it. So he said, and now, Martha Jean the queen.
A clean-up woman is a woman who gets all the love we girls leave behind. The reason I know so much about her.
In the early 60s, she became the queen mother of Detroit radio, introducing R&B to blue-collar workers in the Motor City. She addressed auto workers by name on her Taste and Time show and dispatched wives to the factory gates on payday so that the grocery money didn't get spent at the liquor store on its way home.
Choice of colors, which one would you choose, my brothers? If there was no day or night, which would you prefer to be right?
The Detroit Rebellion, it took us all by surprise. Somebody just put a torch to some building and it started to burn, and the whole city was burning and looting and tearing up things, and it was a shock to everyone, so nobody knew what to do about it. They didn't know where to find whatever it was. The leaders of our city, they were invited to get on radio and to try to appeal to the people, and it didn't work. So they sent for me, and because they knew I was talking to the blue-collar workers. I was talking to the people. I was talking to the welfare mothers. I was talking to their children and making them all a part of mine. You know, we were family. And I understood, and I related to, and they related to me. So they listened. So I went on, and I stayed on radio 48 hours. And we were able to help tone this city down. And that's quite a blessing. It was a blessing. When people responded, then every time there was a problem right after that, they would call me.
And share with black folks, not of kin. I say now people must prove to the people
a better day is coming.
Well, you